Hey, Swicker. It's been a while. I hope everyone has finished this year strong. If you're still in school, I believe in you. I know you can do it. So hopefully everyone's upheld the pillars, especially the academics one the past few weeks. But I just wanted to talk to you a little bit before we get to Nrh్ about the Nrhh-Cc position because that position has been passed. It was passed a few weeks ago. Hopefully you guys have been talking about it with your chapter, but I thought I would just kind of go ahead and go over the legislation and what that means for you guys. And then I do have some time during regional business to kind of go over it again, just to make sure we're all on the same page, and that way you guys can ask me questions in person if you happen to have any. Of course, I think this is a really easy thing, but who knows? It's a little different for us, but I'm really excited about it, and I'm so glad that everyone's on board with it. So the Nrhh-Cc position kind of came about because it's been a little challenging this year for me to communicate with each chapter because sometimes the president doesn't attend chats and they send a representative in their place. Sometimes they don't attend conferences or they don't attend every conference and so they send someone else. And usually that other person, since they're not the president, they don't always know what's going on with the chapter. They're not always entirely sure of what this whole like regional business is. So this position, the NRHH Communications Coordinator, is supposed to kind of help make everything a lot smoother. It's just a way for us to ensure that each chapter is being held accountable and that each chapter has a specific person who will be communicating with the whole region and kind of serve as that liaison between the region and the chapter. And there is a clause in this legislation and now policy, I guess, that says that the president can be the NRHHCC if your chapter doesn't want to create a whole new position. I'm not mandating you have to create a whole new position over the summer, kind of on the fly, out of nowhere. This can be the president, and in which case, whenever you attend regional businesses, you would just be referred to as the NRHHCC. There's no more like NRHH rep business. That way we sound a little bit more official, and we have our own boardroom, so just trying to be legit here. But yeah, so the president can do this. It's just if that's the direction you choose to go, then your chapter has to make sure that the president will be fulfilling this position for the whole year, ideally. If not, you better have a really good transition at semester whenever you happen to switch presidents, because this really is aimed at making everything really smooth and making communication constant. So now policy should read, once we update it, Article 7 in policy will be in there, and it says the National Residence Hall Honorary Communications Coordinator, NRHCC, shall serve as the official liaison between the individual's NRHC chapter, SWCR, and Nrh్. So they kind of fill like the NCC position for NRHH. You would ideally be the one in charge of, or that's the next. Let me not get ahead of myself. So the NRHCC shall work with the institution's National Communications Coordinator to affiliate the NRHH chapter with Nrh్ Inc. So this person will be in charge of affiliation, first of all. That's most important. So they will work with the NCC on getting the passwords and everything and uploading everything. So you have to upload your members list, you have to upload your constitution, you have to upload contact info, that kind of stuff. So you'll be in charge of affiliation. The NRHCC shall provide for a transition in office for the incoming NRHCC from the individual school. This transition shall include notification of such to the Associate Director of NRHH. This is just so every year the AD NRHH knows who's in charge of the chapter. Because sometimes that doesn't always get passed on to me. Like for instance, someone graduates or someone transfers that semester. I don't always know that happens. And then I send an email to who's listed on the website as the NRHH president, now the NRHCC. And then they're like, a month later, oh, P.S., I don't go here anymore. And then it's really awkward. So if you do happen to transition in the middle of the year especially, but also at the end of the year, please pass that information on to the AD Nrhh, whoever it is at the time that this happens. Because then not everyone joins the listserv because it's not very well publicized. And that way I can make sure you're on the listserv, or whoever the AD Nrhh is, because it won't be me for much longer. But yeah, I also need to collect that information from y'all, who your incoming people are, so that Lydia doesn't have to worry about adding everyone like I did. That was kind of a hot mess doing that. And transitioning is also like, oh, here's what we've talked about in the region. Like, please save minutes from chats and from conferences, and pass that along and really explain like where the region is, where the chapter is. Especially the state of the honorary reports. Those are good to pass along. The next item is an Nrhh-Cc shall not concurrently serve as an NCC in regional or national business. So you can't be an NCC and Nrhh-Cc because then you can't go to both boardrooms because they happen at the same time, usually. Nrhh-Cc shall have speaking rights and also occur business, just like we've had in the past. Nrhh-Cc's right to vote on matters before the region shall be determined on a case-by-case basis by the regional director. This is in NCC boardroom or whatever, anything that's not Nrhh boardroom. So your right to vote will have to be determined by the regional director, which is how it is normally. I mean, you can always get proxy too, but, you know, the director has to approve it and that kind of stuff. And finally, the Nrhh chapter may fill the Nrhh-Cc position if the chapter so votes. So there's not much that specifically dictates what this position is. So if you do create a new position, you have some leeway. You just have to make sure that they're in charge of affiliation, that they are like the voice of the chapter and are serving as that liaison between the chapter and the region and Nrhh if need be. So, and like I said, you know, it can be the president. You just have to make sure that person is going to be responsible for that chapter and they are going to be attending everything. I really don't want to see any turnover. I mean, of course, I'm not going to be AD Nrhh, but I don't want to hear about any turnover because that is kind of stressful. And I don't want Lydia to be stressed. I'm hoping that, you know, this next year is as easy as possible for her. We've done a lot with this region and with Nrhh, and so I'm hoping it kind of makes the AD Nrhh position a little bit easier. So that's kind of the Nrhh-Cc position. Again, I will be talking with y'all at Nrhh about it, just kind of briefly, just making sure everyone's on the same page. And it is going to kind of be Lydia's job to kind of follow up on that. Hey, Lydia! So please make this as easy as possible. I mean, I can't imagine it being too difficult, but then again, I'm not actually implementing it anywhere, so, but please let me know if you have any questions that you want to ask me before Nrhh, or if you have any issues or anything. Call me, beat me, if you want to reach me, if you want to page me, that's okay. Anyways, I shall see y'all very, very shortly, and I'm really super excited. This isn't my last video. I have at least one more big one planned. But yeah, this might be my last official just Diamond Ducks video for y'all specifically. We'll see. Anyways, I like y'all. So Diamond Ducky love.